What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of FTB Inventions. Oh yeah, guys, so last episode we finally got our quarry hooked up, we finally got a power supply going, and we finally got our mining world set up. Yes, so we've got a lot of good stuff happening here. Okay, you can't go through these portals in front-facing third-person view. I wasn't sure if you could or couldn't, but yes, you can. So I've let the quarry go. It ran out of fuel. Yeah, we ran it pretty much out of fuel. It's still gaining a little bit of power. It's only making like 10 RF per tick because it's pretty much out of fuel. Yeah, you have to keep this full in order for it to do its maximum. So I disconnected the power here so we are not just wasting it on the quarry, removing a couple blocks. So we can actually get to our AE system and see the stuff that's in here. But that's the progress we made. So I went down probably about half this distance. I ran out of fuel. I filled it back up and then went down this far. But we can see down here, it is getting down to the Certus quartz level, which is pretty awesome. I see some iron. I see some copper. What else do we have around here? I'm not seeing a lot of other ores. I think, well, you can't really see it. Actually, I think there was some galena that I could see down there. Yeah, like the black and white stuff. I don't know if you can see it. It's pretty far away, actually. We could go down there. I don't have a jetpack, so we got to be careful. We can go down here, though. If I staircase all the way down, we could take a look at it. I did see that there was a ravine down here, so that's kind of interesting. I don't know if that ravine will open up and allow us to get some good stuff from down there or whatever. So one thing I did see, I did make a staircase down here previously because I was filling in, there was like a pocket of oil or something right here, and I was filling that in because I didn't want the quarry to, I can't remember if the quarry just doesn't quarry that out or if it'll just spread the oil everywhere and just make a huge mess. So anyway, I wanted to get that all filled in. But what I saw is when I logged out of the game and logged back in, the quarry like reset itself and it came back and it removed all the blocks that I placed. Before logging out and logging back in, it kind of ignored that area. Like it still saw it as the fluid and it wasn't trying to mine it. So I don't know. Hey, pig. So we got some uranium ore down here. What else do we got? Got a ravine. Looks like we have sapphire. Is that what that is? That might be sapphire. Yeah, so we got lots of stuff down here. I'm not seeing any mobs, and if mobs are able to spawn here, I'm pretty sure we'd see some right there. So we got like a red and black ore. Yeah, lots of stuff down here. I can see a little bit of yellorium down there. It looks like, or that might be gold. I'm not entirely sure. And we are at level 47. Yeah, anyway, we're gonna need a lot more fuel to get this thing going all the way down to where we want it. And then we're also gonna have to deal with like these liquids and stuff like that. We're gonna have to fill those in. Yeah, it looks like that lava was on top of this block right here, and the quarry did not mine out that block. So it probably would leave a whole thing all the way down. So we need to make sure we get rid of that too. So anyway, we got lots of good stuff. I haven't seen what was in our ME system. I was going to wait for you guys to join me. Let's go ahead. We'll disconnect the quarry so we can save all the power that the big reactor has. Yeah, we'll save that power so it's not going to the quarry. It's just going to go to the AE system, and we'll see what kind of good stuff that we've collected so far. All right, so we will break this out and we will break that. Cool. All right, so we'll connect this one. I guess we could have just left that there, whatever. But let's connect the power back up. Let's see what we got here. All right, so we got 400, almost 450 iron ore, which is pretty awesome. Almost 400 copper ore, which is pretty awesome. Some bauxite. This is actually like aluminum, and this is the bauxite that we got the titanium from. So we got, 245 Certus quartz. That's not so bad. I just wish there was a way that we could mine this stuff with silk touch and then process that stuff later. I don't know if there is a way we're going to be able to do that. Does this pack? Yeah, this has mine factory. So maybe a way we'll get the ores later is through this mod, the laser drill thing, or what? I don't even remember where that is in the list here. Yeah, there's like the laser drill and laser drill pre-chargers and all of that stuff. Unless that was turned off in this pack. I don't even see the blocks here just looking, but yeah, I'm not looking too hard. So anyway, we might be able to get ores that way in the future when we're making a lot of power, and that way we can start looking at silk touching them and fortuning them and all of that stuff. But for right now, no, we don't. We did not get any fuel, which is a problem. I have some cyanite in here. Let's get that out of here. We didn't get any fuel. We did not get any yellorium out of the mine yet. That is down lower. We can go to, I think it's the guide ore chart right here. And this will show us that the yellorite ore does not spawn until like level 32. Same level as lead, silver, and gold. Maybe it's level 30. I don't know, 30, 32, something like that. So yeah, we need to get all the way down there, and then we can start making, or I guess collecting fuel from the quarry. So we need enough fuel to get us down there. So we do have the cyanite left over, and we do have a little bit of yellorium that I did not put into the reactor yet. The cyanite, there is a cyanite reprocessor. So if you look for the uses on this thing, we can turn this into the turbines and actually make more power this way, but we're not going to do that just yet. We might do that in the future. I don't really know what we're going to do for power going forward. But yeah, there's a cyanite reprocessor. This requires a bucket of water and 2 cyanite ingots, and that'll turn it into a blutonium ingot. Now, blutonium I saw also has exchange value, or maybe, okay, maybe it doesn't. Blutonium. I thought I saw that it did. Maybe it was before the update. Maybe they removed that. I thought it was a little bit cheaper than the yellorium ingots. Does this have exchange? Yeah, this has exchange. Yeah, I thought the plutonium did, and then I guess it got removed in the latest update. This is 1.0.1. Anyway, that's interesting. I was going to say we could exchange for the plutonium, and that works just the same as the yellorium in the big reactor, but I guess we can't do that. What about the cyanide? Does that have exchange? Oh, the cyanide does. Maybe this is what I saw. This is 1,025 per. That's 1,024 per. It seems a little weird. That's slightly more. Anyway, the cyanide we can put in 2 for 1 into the cyanide reprocessor. So we got to stack more plutonium here, which will allow our quarry to go down a little bit further. We should start looking at making the cyanide reprocessor is what we're getting to. Otherwise, we're going to have to go mine by hand and try and find some more yellorium or yellorite, or that doesn't sound like a lot of fun. All right, so the cyanide reprocessor, let's look at this. To make one of these, we need a yellorium fuel rod. So we've made like 3 of those last episode. We need some reactor casings, a couple of pistons, redstone, and iron. That's not so bad. Then it also needs a little bit of power, I believe, to process. I think it requires power. I'm pretty sure it does. Anyway, yeah, it requires a little bit of power and some water to reprocess 2 cyanite into a plutonium. And yeah, we'll get our power back. So let me go ahead and make that up real quick. I'll sleep because it looks like it's during nighttime. It is raining. We'll get rid of all that. And we'll be right back, guys. All right, guys. So let's go ahead and get the cyanide reprocessor hooked up. So I went ahead and I got this thing all made. We'll stick this right, not there, right here. We'll stick it right there. Yeah, we can look at this thing. It does have a water tank. It's got a place for the cyanide, and it ejects the plutonium, the final product. It does require power. I don't remember how much power it takes. We'll figure this all out. But we want to input from, let's see, we want the red from this side, and then we're going to eject from this side. Yeah, red and green. Okay, so let's take some item ducts. I just made some of these. We'll bring from here down to there, and we'll bring from here right to like that. I think that's going to work pretty well. Another thing we're going to want to do is we're going to want to feed this thing a little bit of water. Let me get rid of some blocks here. So I made myself an aqueous accumulator so we can stick this right underneath there. I do believe this makes water just from the atmosphere, but it's pretty slow. Yeah, it sounds like it's doing stuff, but it's not really doing anything. So anyway, we're going to just set the output to the top, right like that. The aqueous accumulator goes, I think, max speed as long as it's surrounded by 2 source blocks of water. So, whoops, come here. Come here. So put water here, and we will put water there. And then we should start seeing some water going into this thing, but we're not. So why not? Oh, I didn't set the input from the bottom. There it is. Okay, so blue to the bottom. There we go. So yeah, that's filling up decently fast, full of water. Cool. All right, so that's taken care of. We don't have to worry about water going into this thing anymore. Let's go ahead and fill this all back in. Nice. Okay, so we have that hooked up. So the cyanide comes out here. It's going to be ejected into the cyanide reprocessor. When this thing's done, we're going to push it into our access port here to go back into the reactor, and we should have a pretty good loop as far as the fuel goes. So we need to set up some of these servos. I don't think this machine ejects it. I think it only allows it to be extracted. So I think we need a servo here, and we need a servo here. So we'll go ahead and set this thing to ignored. We should probably set a filter on this thing to whitelist cyanite. I don't think anything else can come through there, but just to be double sure. And then on this one, we'll just say ignored. All right, so we should be able to prime it with a little bit of cyanite. I don't really know how fast this thing goes, but what I do know is it does require power. So we got a little bit more to go before we are 100% ready here. I'm just gonna go ahead and dig underneath this thing. We'll get power to this from the back. Right here. There it is. Yeah, I also brought a little bit of this leadstone flux duct, which should be more than adequate. Which I should have gone over one more. Like so. Okay, so that connects. It should get power over here. There we go. Yeah, that's getting power. It should be processing. It's not the fastest thing in the world. Oh, it looks like that did require a little bit of power before it did its first little section of processing, didn't it? There we go. Well, there's our first piece of plutonium. I should probably grab one of those. Oh, wait, didn't we say the plutonium doesn't have exchange value? I was gonna say I should probably grab one of those and learn it in the system, but yeah, it doesn't have exchange value, so there's not really a whole lot to do with it. So the uses, we should probably look at this as well. On the plutonium, we can use it to make the ludicrate blocks, which are used for the reactor turbines. Or I guess the steam turbines. They're used in the turbine controllers. And I think that might be about it. So yeah, we just got a piece of cyanite out of the reactor there, so that's pretty awesome. So this thing is making a full loop now. Yeah, it is filling up with fuel, so that's pretty cool. We could also put we could put like a hopper on top or something and then feed these into it as well, just to make sure we are constantly filling up with fuel here. So yeah, this is now filling up perfectly fine with power. So I guess the next step, besides filling this all back in, would be to hook our quarry back up. So we're not wasting the power. It's actually going to be used. Gonna do that. And yeah, let's go ahead and hook the quarry back up now. Boop. All right, so the quarry should be going. Yeah, it's going to leave my dirt staircase all the way down there. That's fine. I'm not sure what happens when it comes over to this point and it tries to mine those underneath the staircase, if that's going to ruin stuff or if it will break these or whatever. But anyway, I think we should be good. Let's check the power on this thing. Oh, it is eating power. Okay, so another thing that I did do, I did set the control rod level a little bit lower so it wasn't set to 100%. So I had the control rod set to 16. Let's go ahead and turn these all the way down. How do I do this? There we go. All right, so that should be maximum speed now, or I guess maximum power on the big reactor. Yeah, it looks like we're gaining a little bit of power now. That's awesome. So yeah, the quarry's gonna be going maximum speed. That's also gonna allow our cyanite reprocessor to do its thing. I'm just gonna go ahead and keep feeding this more cyanite. And then I'm gonna hold on to these yelloriums, kind of like a just in case. If we do run out of fuel completely, I wanna be able to jumpstart this thing and get it going once again, should we find more yellorium. But yeah, hopefully that'll be enough to get us all the way down, well, pretty close anyway, to the yellorium level. We might still have to do a little bit of mining by hand. I'm not sure how this is all going to work, but anyway, that's pretty awesome. So our resources are coming back in here. The cobblestone is being deleted like it should. Yeah, everything's happy now. Very awesome. All right, guys, so I was just kind of thinking about what we should be doing to progress further in this mod pack. And what we're kind of running into right now is we need ender pearls. We need like enderium and things like that. And we don't have any enderium. But I was looking, ender pearls do in fact have exchange value. So once we get one, we can learn it and then we can convert other things into ender pearls, and then we can take those ender pearls and melt them and make, you know, all the different things like the resonant ender or all of that stuff. So that's probably what we should be looking at now, is to get ourselves our very first ender pearl. And that's probably what we're going to end up doing. So I think we're going to go over, I kind of want to stay away from the base in case something bad happens, like a creeper explodes or gets to us. But yeah, I think what we're going to do is like what we normally do for getting endermen. Just set up a little 3 high thing. Well, I guess it's too high. The roof will be on the 3rd block, something like this. Just put out a little covering like so endermen cannot get to us, and we can stand underneath this thing and happily attack them until we get our first ender pearl. I think that's probably going to be the best thing to do. Something, you know, like this. In fact, we might make this just a little bit bigger. It seems like when I've done this in the past, endermen have long reach and they can actually get me when I don't want them to. They can touch me while I'm under here a little bit. So I think this will be just fine. We have plenty of flat land right here. So if an enderman spawns, I can look at it and it should be able to teleport over here. So I think we should be all good. Once we get enough ender pearls, or I guess once we get a ender pearl, we can convert it into many. And then from there, we can take that ender pearl, mix it with some blaze powder, and actually get to the end. And then we can set up like a proper enderman farm, and then we'll be able to get a lot of exchange value that way. I think that's probably a smart thing to do. There's also the Soul Shards Reborn mod in here. And I was looking at this a little bit in the 1.8.9 mod pack that I was doing. We only got about 10 episodes into that. But I was kind of looking at this in that mod pack, but I never really got a chance to use this mod. So I'd like to check this out. Eventually when we get to the end, we'll be able to make one of these soul shards at tier 5, and then we can spawn in all of the endermen. That's going to be great. So we can also do that for blaze rods too, and that'll be another thing we'll be looking at. That'd make a great experience farm, I think, later on. Cool. So anyway, I gotta wait for nighttime. It's gonna take another, I don't know, 5-7 minutes for that sun to go down and the mobs to start spawning. So I'm gonna get to it. I might even build out a little barrier, maybe something like this, just to keep the creepers away from me. Might be a good idea. I don't know. But anyway, I'll go ahead and mess around with this for a little bit. We'll try and get our very first enderman, try and get our very first ender pearl, and we'll be right back, guys. I was starting to think endermen wouldn't spawn in this mod pack. Here we go. Here's one. Let's get it done. Oh, I should have turned mob sounds down before I did that. Okay. You took my sand block, sir. Give it back. Whoa. Come here. Come here. You're almost dead. One more hit. Where'd you go? There you are. Trying to be sneaky. Oh, and you didn't even have the decency to drop an ender pearl? What a guy. All right. Well, at least we know they do spawn. Yeah, I've been waiting here for like 4 or 5 minutes at nighttime. I've been seeing other things spawn. Some zombies have been spawning within range of aggroing me and made their way over here. But yeah, that was the first enderman I saw. I was starting to wonder if they were even going to spawn in this mod pack. But yeah, I guess they are just a very rare spawn. It's probably easier if we were flying around unloading some new mobs, or I'm saying unloading existing mobs so new ones could spawn. But yeah, unfortunately, we don't have a jetpack or any way of doing that at this point in time. In fact, we're still just using regular unenchanted iron armor. So I really don't want to fight these mobs too much without, you know, some kind of protection over us. Okay, well, I guess I'm just going to continue to do this, wait for some endermen to spawn in. And yeah, hopefully we'll get that ender pearl here pretty quickly. All right, guys. Well, it took about 1.5 nights and about 5 endermen, but we finally got our ender pearl. So that's pretty awesome. I had a spider attack me through my little opening in the thing too, and a couple of creepers, and I got a skeleton, some zombies, and anyway. So we got our 1 ender pearl. Let's stick it in here. Hopefully, yeah. Okay, I wasn't sure if this thing would be learned or not. It just says exchange energy on it. I assumed it could be, but yeah, that's pretty cool. So now that we're learning this, we should be able to make all of the ender pearls that we need to try and find the end and try and get there. Or I guess try and find the stronghold to get to the end is what I should be saying. All right, so our next order of business, we do have some blaze rods, and I believe we have these learned. Do we have blaze powder? We have 1. That's not enough. Let's go and take like... Oh, that's water. I've been hearing monsters all night long. I'm so afraid that they're just going to sneak up on me and I'm not going to know about it. Did that just give me 8? That just give me 8. Wow. Okay, so that's a lot. All right, I think we're done. Okay, that gives you 8 per per grinding with the flint in there anyway. So that's pretty awesome. We can put that back. I guess we can put all these mob drops back in here as well. So now we need something to convert into ender pearls. Now I was thinking we could probably use these sapphires. These things have 1024. It's the same exact thing as the ender pearl, and we're really not using these at all. In fact, I was noticing in the mining world that we had already mined up like 50 of them. Yeah, we really don't have a use for those. So we can go ahead and exchange those for ender pearls. I think that's a fair trade. So let's do ender pearl. There it is. There's 14 of them. We might want more than 14 actually, right? The end portal itself, I think, takes 12. I can't remember. And then we're probably going to break some on the way trying to find the stronghold around here. So Yeah, let's try and find something else. Probably like ruby, or what is the other one? I can't remember off the top of my head. Peridot, however you say this. Let's do 6 more. That should be enough. These have, the same exchange rate as the sapphire, so that should be pretty good. Okay, so we'll exchange that, and we're going to be off to try and find the end here pretty soon. Those. But another thing we should do before we actually go through the end, we should probably get ourselves a jetpack. We should find something like an ender storage or ender pouch or something to put all of our valuables in before we go, because I've had it before where you go to the end and you get knocked off immediately by the dragon or a silverfish or something that's gone through the portal. Yeah, anyway, we're going to want that too. So we can use our Eyes of Ender, and trying to get over to the stronghold might be a pain too by foot. I mean, we can try it. Yeah, that's definitely a possibility. Let's just see which direction it's going in. So it will be going this way, which is going down on the x-axis. Okay. Well, I kind of feel like it might be close since we're about 700 blocks away. It might be right around here somewhere. I guess we can go for, 1 day. If it feels like we're going to be too far away before it turns nighttime, we might head back. Let's try another one. Yeah, so off this direction. All right. Well, let's go. Let's continue on until it goes down into the ground. Did I ever go to that village right there? I don't remember. We might have. Yeah, let's just keep going over here until we can find where the stronghold is, and we can mark that location off. All right, guys. Well, I just threw a pearl, and it went directly underground, like right below me. So I think this is the location where we need to be. I guess we can go ahead and put some torches around here like this, and we could also use our map to put a waypoint over here. Yeah, so we're right here, and our base is like right here. So that is really close. I mean, it takes a little bit to walk over here. We can set up rail tracks to come over here, or when we get our jetpack and stuff, it won't make that big of a difference. That's that village that I saw right here. Is asking if I've ever been there before. Yeah, so it's really not that far away from our base, so that's pretty awesome. So we'll just go ahead and add a waypoint here. New stronghold. Save. Close. Cool. So now we got a waypoint here. We know where to go. Yeah. Let's go ahead and get ourselves a jetpack. Let's go ahead and start looking at some of the... Do we have ender pouches? Yeah, we're going to want some of these things. And that was another thing we weren't able to make because we didn't have ender pearls. Now we have access to these, and this is going to allow us to store stuff in inside safe and sound for when we go into dangerous places like the end for the very first time. I think our base is this way. There's a village. Yeah, it's got to be over here. Okay, so anyway, let me go back to the base. I'm going to get some more stuff done, and we'll be right back, guys. All right, guys. Well, I went ahead and I started making a jetpack. In fact, I made the tier 1, and then I made all the stuff. I crafted all these different thrusters to get to the tier 2. So we're going to start off with the hardened jetpack. So let's go ahead and craft that. Nice. Okay, so we got that. We should probably look at the armor for that, but that's not super important. What's really just important is that we're able to fly around. So yeah, I'm pretty happy that we now have flight. So I was looking at different ways to get this thing charged. There's a wireless charger from Ender.io. However, in order to do this, we need the octadic capacitors, which is a little expensive right now. I mean, it's not impossible. And then we need the Ender resonator, which requires us to get a slice and splice. Then we're going to need Enderman head, which we don't have. I don't think we're going to need some solarium. Yeah, we don't have a lot of this stuff. So this will probably be something we look at a little bit later. But yeah, the wireless charger, from what I understand or what I remember, is that it will charge your jetpack while it's on your person, while you're around somewhere. Yeah, zombie pigment saying hi. Yeah, so it's something that you're probably going to want in your base just so it charges your stuff up while you're just kind of hanging around. So anyway, we'll look at that pretty soon. Okay, so we need to get ourselves the next best thing, which would be an energetic infuser from thermal expansion. So we need 2 of these redstone transmission coils. These are the silver ones. We're going to need, I think, a gold one. Let's go and make one of those. That's our last piece of gold, apparently. Copper gears. We're going to need 2 of those things. What else do we need? Leadstone energy cell. We don't have the redstone block. Let's go ahead and make one of those. Okay, that's done. This should be done. Cool. Crafting is so fast with the crafting terminal and applied energistics. I like it. And then we'll make a tin gear. I think we should have enough for the machine frame. We do. So we should be able to make this thing. There it is. Energetic infuser. Pretty simple to build. Where do we want to put this? And these machines right here, like, are the ones from Applied Energistics 2. This is kind of a temporary thing until it's not. So we'll just stick this here. It should get some power off. Yeah, I'll get some power off the leadstone flux ducts. Just a little bit at a time. That should be enough to get this thing charged up, though, which is going to be pretty awesome. It holds 400,000. Yeah, and this energetic infuser holds 400,000 too. So once this thing gets full, it'll have enough power to fully recharge this thing. We should also look at probably carrying around some of the flux capacitors. Yeah, just so we have that extra charge on the go. I'm not sure if we have enough for one of those, but if we could make just one of the hardened ones, that should be pretty good. The leadstone would not be enough. Can we make the hardened one? Yes, we can. Cool. So we'll go ahead and get this thing all charged up as well once our jetpack is done. And we'll have a lot of power and then some extra. So I also went ahead and I made the ender pouch. And this thing holds the same amount as like a large chest, which is pretty awesome. Some configurations, they have it set up so it's only got 3 rows. This particular mod pack has it set up for the full 6, so that's pretty awesome. So I put in my Eyes of Ender, just some cobblestone, my crescent hammer, things, that have honest I don't really need, but I don't want to lose either. I guess the cobblestone doesn't matter, but anyway, you get the idea. So this thing is almost fully charged. Let's just take it out now. We'll put this in there. We'll let that charge up. Cool. Let's put the jetpack on. Okay. So that's hover mode. That's as fast as we go up. Yeah, it's not that great. It's not that great, but it's better than nothing. Yeah, and the power does run out relatively quickly. We're at 90%. Well, I guess it wasn't on the full charge either. That'll get us around, at least flying around the nether will be good. We can go down to the bottom of the quarry. In fact, we should probably do that now and just kind of see where the quarry's at. It has been going for a minute now. We should also check on the plutonium. How is this doing over here? So we're down to 5 pieces. Yeah, it's still processing all this stuff. We're down to 5 pieces remaining, so we're gonna have to worry about getting some yellorium going in there. Whoa. Oh, that's right, we have flight. I almost forgot about that. So I saw there was some yellow over here. I don't know if that's gold or if that's yellorium. If that's yellorium, that's good. That means we're gonna start getting fuel. Yellorite ore, awesome. Yeah, we're gonna start mining up fuel for the big reactors to keep it going. That is great. Very good, very good. Yeah, eventually the plutonium will run out, and we can also exchange a little bit of our other stuff for yellorium if we absolutely need to. Yeah, we got 109 the sapphire. So anyway, we're up to almost 800 blocks of iron. That's crazy. So now that we got the jetpack, we should look at probably getting the armor for this, and we could go explore the stronghold. Alright guys, well I went in and I dug straight down from our marker, and sure enough, yeah, stronghold right here. We got the little spiral staircase action happening. Alright, so where are we gonna find the actual portal itself? I don't know. We go to our mini map. Can we see it on here somewhere? It looks like it's right here. I see a library right this way. So we need to point this direction. Yeah, it's just right around the corner. Okay, cool. So down this hallway and around the corner, this thing is kind of like in the middle of the hallway here. That's kind of weird. So we got 4 nuke viruses in this treasure chest. That's like the best treasure ever. Not really. So anyway, we'll head over here. Get those lighting updates happening. Yeah, there's our silverfish, man. So many of them. Oh, you know what we should have done? I should grab the diamond dolly. I should make a diamond dolly and we should grab that spawner is what we should do. Yeah, I don't know. Is there any reason to have silverfish in modded Minecraft? I don't know. We have Mine Factory Reloaded, right? So we can always capture one with a safari net and then we can spawn in a bunch of them later on once we get like monster essence and things along those lines. And yeah, I just saw like some silverfish going to blocks or whatever. I'm sure we'll be able to find some later. Let's just get rid of this thing. It's just going to be an annoyance. Okay, so we got that broken. Oh, you know what? We have Ender IO too, so we can do the stabilize spawner. Cool. So getting here was pretty easy. We can go ahead and just put the Eyes of Ender in. By the way, I did make a hang glider. This is from Open Blocks, and it does have exchange energy. So yeah, that's pretty awesome. If we ever lose it, we can just go ahead and make another one really fast like that. Okay, we just got to make sure we're not going to go through the portal. We don't have enough time today to actually fight the dragon and do the things that I want to do. So let's just back up a little bit. There we go. We got the portal open, so that's pretty cool. I'll go ahead and put another waypoint, like right here or something. New end portal. Save, close. So that's pretty cool. We could go over and check this library here. These usually have a couple of chests in them that might have some good stuff. I don't know. Let's go find out. Well, here's the library, guys, but it doesn't have a floor. Apparently, there's a ravine that went right through it. But yeah, there's one of the chests. Let's get up here. Should be able to get this thing. Look, we got cheaty floating ladders over here, too. That's pretty funny. Yeah, you can't see the ladder texture from this side. Only from this one. So, this chest up here usually doesn't have good stuff in it, but we'll go and open it up anyway. Oh, unstable 2. Maybe it does have good stuff. Just 2 unstable, 2 books, and some paper. That's not so good. Usually the other chest that's good, yeah, is down here on this level. So what is this one? Floppy disk, a book, and some paper. Yeah, we kind of got robbed. I did find another one of those, like the corridor chests or whatever, and we got some stop worms. Yeah, these things are kind of, you don't really need them, I don't think. Anyway, let's go ahead and get out of here then. Alright guys, that's gonna do it for this episode of FTB Inventions. I hope you guys liked the episode. Yeah, I had a lot of fun today getting the quarry going again, hooking up that reprocessing stuff. We are now getting to yellorite ore, which is awesome, so we won't have to really worry about, you know, running out of power, running out of the nuclear fuel for the big reactors, which is super awesome. So yeah guys, that's gonna do it for today. Thank you guys for watching. Remember to leave a like on this episode if you did like it, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching guys. Bye bye.